All right. Glad to see everybody. Actually, I don't get to see everybody, but you can see me, which is nearly as good. Well, talk about a unexpected twist of the semester. Technically, we're only online for 1 week. I'm not going to go on that assumption. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to brief you on what I'm assuming is going to be the procedure for the rest of the semester. Therefore, I'm very rapidly switching you from a face-to-face course to a online course. And that's going to facilitate, that's going to mandate a rediscussion of the syllabus and how we're going to handle things on a daily basis going forward. How you'll be able to receive your daily dose of chemistry. Yeah, that wasn't a mistake. Daily dose. Format changes. All right. Let's start from the very beginning, which is a reintroduction. After all, it's been like 2 weeks since you've had chemistry. I know I can feel your pain coming through the computer. My name is Dr. Kelly, in case you've forgotten or in case you never realized what it was. And you'll find in Blackboard a revised syllabus. Matter of fact, let me share this up on the screen with us here. I want to sharing is caring. Oh, yep, there I go. Sharing. Okay, good deal. Whoa! That's always kind of cool. It's like Doctor Strange. Everybody see Doctor Strange? It's a pretty decent Marvel movie. It's better than any of the Doctor Strange comic books, quite frankly. But what we have here is we have the new and improved virus-modified syllabus. First of all, regardless of whether you're in the Monday-Tuesday section or the Tuesday-Thursday section, to make the material more digestible for you, what I've done is I've broken it down into 5-day-a-week chunks, just like I do for my online students. So you're going to have assignments every single day of the week, Monday through Friday. It's still only 4 hours a week of lecture. I know, I'm sorry, you wanted more. But it's 5 days a week. If you want to do it in 2, be my guest. First thing, well, office hours are kind of out the door here, since we're not supposed to have human contact at all. So how are you going to get help when you need it? You're going to get help through a question help message board I've set up in your Blackboard shell. Let's go to your Blackboard shell real quickly here. In your Blackboard shell, you'll see a button on your menu that says Questions and Help. What that is a message board for you to ask me questions on. To ask a question, please create a new thread. Don't hop onto somebody else's thread to create a question. Now, when somebody else asks a question, by all means, hop on and read what their question is and see if you can answer it. See if you can beat me to the answer. But when you need to ask a question, create a thread. Keep in mind, you saw how much trouble we had in class sometimes communicating about what homework problem we were going to want to talk about. So when you ask a question, don't ask the question like you're asking a question like you're talking about the title of an episode of Friends, right? Every episode of Friends, with one exception, has the title, the one with, right? The one with the cat, the one where Monica goes on a date, the one where Joey gets a job, right? Don't do that, because that doesn't tell me what question. I've got 600 something homework questions that I've assigned during the course of the semester. So asking the one with doesn't help me locate it. Give me the problem number and the homework that it came from, like problem 9.34 from homework 33. And that way I can answer your question. In terms of answering your questions, I have wonderful tools available to me. I can generate YouTube videos and it'll be just like I was here in front of you. I've got a virtual whiteboard program. I've got a stylus. I am all set to rock and roll in order to answer your questions. Not only that, so that you don't have to search through the thread. Any questions I do get asked, I'll add to our little worked homework program file that we've had going on since the beginning of the semester. This question help message board, I will check at least once a day, Monday through Friday. So as long as you're asking me between 9 a.m. Monday and 9 a.m. Friday, I'm going to answer you within 24 hours. So it's your best and only really way to get in contact with me, the only reliable way to get in contact with me. Also, I teach a lot of online courses. So if you just email me, A, your email may get lost among the volume that I receive, and B, I won't know what course you're in unless you communicate with me that you've sent me an email. So when you send me an email, come to this question help message board, click create a thread, and just say, sent ya an email. You can use better English if you want. You can just say, send an email. But communicate with me in some way that you've sent me an email. That's going to be really, really important. If you click send an email, I will see that thread, I'll see your name, and I will go to my inbox, right? You will get a faster response to your email if you post this message. I use these message boards first thing every morning as my to-do box. I've got all these online courses. I go through each online course, going through their message boards one at a time. It's only after I've dealt with these message boards that I deal with any emails still left in my inbox. So if you want a fast response to your question, and one that doesn't involve me just asking you back, that's great, I'd love to ask you your question, what course are you in? Post this message, right? You post this message, A, I know to look for your email, and B, I know what course you're in. You'll get a much faster response. And only email me about private issues, right? If you need help with homework problem 9.34 from homework 33, ask on the question help message board. Chances are half your classmates do have that same problem. And one of your classmates may be even able to jump in and answer it. If you've got other issues with the course that aren't private, like, you know, if your grandmother's sick and in the hospital, you don't need to post that on the message board, right? That's an email issue. But if mastering chemistry isn't working for you or something like that, post on the thread board, because if you just email me and say mastering chemistry is not working for you, I'm going to say clear your cookies and restart your browser. But if I get like if I get 30 of the 40 of you jumping on that same thread and saying you've got mastering chemistry issues about a particular homework problem or something like that, then I'll do something different than just telling you to clear your cookies. So use this question help message board. Don't be afraid to ask questions. This part really makes me nervous because you guys didn't ask a lot of questions to begin with, and I thrive on questions. I live for questions. So make sure that you don't feel you're suffering in silence. I really am here for you guys. Yes, I'm here for you every day waiting to answer your questions. So when you get stuck or run into trouble with some of this material, don't feel that you're alone. Don't feel that you're the only one having issues. Ask the question, right? One of the best reasons to ask a question is it's very common when somebody asks a question for 3 or 4 classmates to respond to that thread saying, I had questions about that one too. That helps break the isolation that a lot of online students feel when they're taking online chemistry. So jump in there and ask those questions. I really, really encourage it. All right, so that's how you're going to get help. That's how we're going to have office hours, so to speak. The next thing that's going to be changing for you really is how to take this course, right? Notice I crossed everything out. Now I've got some nice everything, by the way, in this new syllabus that I changed it to blue so that you can see the new stuff. How to take this course. This course will be now Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Every Monday, Tuesday. I forgot Wednesday. I'm sorry, Wednesday. You know, ever notice how impotent Odin seems in the Marvel movies? You know, in mythology, he's this all-powerful, you know, go in there, punch things, fight monsters, tearing out eyeballs for knowledge, hanging himself from a tree, got these cool black crows. And in the Marvel movies, he just sort of sits there. I'm sorry, I got distracted. How did I get to Odin from Wednesday? Well, you know, it's Wednesday's named after Odin. But anyway, I totally digress here. Every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, a new assignment will be posted in Blackboard. Usually, you'll have 1 week to do those assignments. Towards the end of the semester, those turnaround times will dramatically shrink. You will have deadlines of 24 hours or less going into those last couple weeks of the semester. Most days, your assignments will consist of 3 parts: a lecture quiz, and a homework assignment. Let's take a look. I've given you a syllabus. In addition to this syllabus, you'll find in Blackboard a schedule. You know, if a miracle happens, this is the only part of this schedule that we'll have to worry about. Realistically, though, we're probably in this for the long game. So let's take a look at what we'll be doing. For example, your first day here, after you finish listening to me explaining what you're doing, you're going to come over here. You're going to listen to a lecture over 9.2 and 9.3, the ideal gas law and combined gas law. Where will you find that 9.2, 9.3 lecture? You'll come to Dr. Kelly's lecture folder here in Blackboard. You'll go to chapter 9, and there it is, 9.2 to 9.3 ideal gas law. I believe I've already given you online.
Let's take a look at the simple.
I believe I've already given you online lectures before, so they're not going to come as a huge surprise to you. But I've got that virtual pen program. I'll shut up for a second and let this play.
The kinetic molecular theory. Believe it, my eyes are, oh, yeah, ow, ooh. The very sight of the Celsius scale offends me. Oh.
I've got a virtual pen program that I use to generate these lectures. So they are the exact same, well, not the exact same, but as close to sitting in class with me as you can get. So it's got the exact same content. You'll notice that because a little bit of this first lecture is review for you, that I'm going to make some of the exact same bad jokes in the exact same places. So it does an excellent job of mimicking the content that you're going to have in lecture. One big difference is during the course of these lectures, I'm going to say some random non-chemistry related words. Like right now, I might say Napoleon. I might tell you to write down Napoleon. And you're looking at me and you're saying, why did Dr. Kelly tell us to write down Napoleon? What in the world does Napoleon have to do with anything? Well, Napoleon is a word that I want you to remember to document that you listened to the lecture. You're going to have a lecture quiz every day that you have a lecture, and that lecture quiz will simply be asking you what words I had you write down. So you listen to the lectures, you write down these words, boom, easy points. You're going to find these lecture quizzes in Mastering Chemistry. So let's go to Mastering Chemistry now. You guys are already familiar with the program, so that helps. Come on. Ah, there it is. All right, mastering chemistry. Homework 3.9, 9.1 to 9.34, and there's your lecture quiz. Lecture quiz 32, 9.2 to 9.3, ideal gas law and combined gas law. So this would be your first lecture quiz. Ooh, somebody's already started it. 2 people have already started it. Standard view. Oh, I just gave away the answers to all of those, didn't I? Oh, well. But what you'll see is a bunch of list of X-Men, and you'll be asked to check the ones that I told you to write down. So that will be what your quiz will be. Every day, you'll have one of those. And then you'll do your homework as you traditionally would. And that's what you'll do every day. Lecture, lecture quiz, homework. Pretty much the same, except now you're having to document that you listened to the lecture, and the lecture's online instead of in a wonderful living person. The other thing that's going to be a little different is practice exams. I don't have the ability to give you practice exams online, really. Not only that, but because of the nature of online testing, I'll be giving you your online exams in a different format where I have much more difficulty securing the testing mechanisms. Because of that, what I've done is instead of practice exams, you're going to take chapter tests, what I refer to as tests. And in my online class and in this format, we're going to differentiate between tests and exams. What your tests are is they're going to take the place of your practice exams. Let's switch back to this syllabus here for a second and look at how I've had to change the grading of this class. No choice. We've changed format. I have to change the grading. So what I've done is I've made the lecture quiz 5%, the lecture quizzes that you're going to listen to 5% of your grade. Homework is now 15%. Your chapter tests are 20%. And what these chapter tests are is they're graded practice exams. You need to study for these chapter tests exactly like you would study for an in-class exam. Go over those notes. Get together with a friend. Well, actually, you can't get together with a friend. That's violating social distancing. Go over your homework, right? Review that end of chapter questions in particular. Study hard for those chapter tests. Do your best. But these chapter tests are only 20% of your grade. The reason that they're 20% of your grade is to encourage you to do them. I used to just label these chapter tests as practice, and nobody did them. I'd have like 1 or 2 students who did them, and they'd wind up being the 1 or 2 students in the class who did the best on their exams. So I've made them 20% of your grade. They're still only 1/3 the weight of your exams. Also, the 2 in-class tests you've taken are going to count as exams now. So you're going to take a test over Chapter 9. This is going to be a multiple choice test. You're going to study for it. You're going to do your best. After you take that test, you're going to be able to see the answers. You're going to be able to see what you got wrong. So look at that test and use it to study. Use it to go back over things that you got wrong on that test. Go back and study them before you take the exam. The exam will be from the exact same test bank as your chapter test. Chances are you will get no more than 1 or 2 of the same questions because the tests are set to randomize. However, the style and formatting of the questions will be the same. So that chapter tests not only diagnoses what you don't know, but it gets you used to the wording that you're going to see when you come to the exam. And your exams are still heavily weighted. The previous class, they're 85%. They're now reduced down to 60 to allow extra room for those lecture quizzes and chapter exams. Quick note here, I will not pass, just like before where I wouldn't pass anybody in the lecture. Or if you look at your old syllabus, I had that thing in there where I wouldn't pass you in the course if you didn't have a passing grade on your homework. Same thing goes now, not only for the homework, but for the lecture quizzes and the chapter tests. You cannot receive a grade in your class higher than your homework grade. I will not pass anyone who does not receive a passing grade in each of the above grade items. For example, if you have a lecture quiz average of 45%, I will fail you even if you have a 90% above in the homework, chapter tests, and exams. So make sure that you do all portions of the class and that you take all portions seriously. As I said, this is just a broadening of the course policy that had previously existed, not a new one. The grades stay the same, 90 to 100 an A, 80, yada, yada, yada. No assignments will be accepted after the final. Lecture quizzes we've covered, chapter tests we've covered, online lectures we've covered. Homework, the way it's graded stays the same. Late penalties stay the same. Couple addendums because we have gone finally online. I want to make a couple things clear. This course ends 5/5. After 5/5 at 11:59 p.m. EST, this class turns into a pumpkin and goes away. Right? Bibbidi bobbidi boop. I just watched Descendants for the first time the other day with my daughter. But at any rate, the final battle where, at any rate, but the course turns into a pumpkin at 11:59 p.m. EST, and no assignments will be accepted after that time for any reason. I have to post grades. I have my own deadlines to meet. In order for me to meet those deadlines, the class has to end. Therefore, the course is ending at 5/5. Up until that point, I will accept late work. Couple quick things to note. I will not open, if you are late taking a test or exam, you are at my mercy and my discretion to reopen that test and home exam for you. I will not reopen a test or exam for which you are late unless you have completed all the accompanying homework and lecture quizzes. In other words, if you have missed the deadline, the late date for a test, and you email me to ask me to open it, I will go through your homework and see that you have completed every single question and every single assignment. And if you have not, I will not reopen that test. Tests and exams, by the way, are subject to homework, are subject to that late penalty. And if you haven't done the homework leading to that late date for the test, I will not stop the late penalty until that homework is completed. So be forewarned for that. I don't give penalty-free extensions. In other words, don't wait until the last moment to do your homework and take your exams. Let me be really, really clear on this. If we look at the syllabus here, I've got the date you should do the assignment. For example, today, Monday, you should be doing this, right? You should do it. You should try to the best of your ability to do it this day. Why? Well, if you have a question, you can ask me on the question help message board that day, and you have an answer by tomorrow. You have an answer by tomorrow, worst case scenario. So you still have 6 days to get the assignment done before it's considered late. If you do it on this date and you have a question, guess what? you're already into penalty by the time I've answered you. Also, I'm giving you 7 days to do most of these assignments. So there's really no excuse for you running 7 days behind on something. You need to also be working off these to-do dates instead of the late dates because of what happens at the end of April. At the end of April, you begin to have contraction where it goes from 7 days to 6 days to 5 to 4. Oops, I go to 2. So I go from like 5 days to 2 days. And then eventually you're going to begin to see assignments due within 24 hours to where you finally get to the exam and the final, your last exam and the final, which are due the exact same day that you're supposed to take them. Another thing, I will have the entire course up and open for you starting Monday. So if you want to work ahead, go right ahead. The only reason not to work ahead is if you, for some reason, believe that you're going to be seeing and sitting in the class face-to-face again come March 30th. I would be shocked if that happens. I don't know how much plugged in you are to different things, but I was supposed to be running a marathon at the end of April, and it's already been canceled. I was supposed to be running a 15K in 2 weeks, and it's already been canceled on me. I've got some half marathon that for some reason hasn't canceled in 2 weeks. But at any rate, what I'm saying is things that have money and profit attached to them have already been canceled. So I have trouble seeing this nonprofit not continuing in the online format, especially considering how aggressive the governor has been already. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and planned out the entire semester for us. Hopefully this whole thing will turn out to have been a waste of my time and yours, and that we'll see each other on the 30th, but I wouldn't count on it. Alrighty then. Without further ado, I'll let you guys get to it. Ask me on that question help message board if you got questions. Signing off.